Hey y'all, hey, it's Michelle with Brilliant Quest, your big sis. And today I want to come by and just give you a quick little thought to think about, okay? And I know the biggest trick of online courses and all of that, but I don't know so much as if it's an intentional trick as it is just a consequential trick. And what I'm talking about is the 30-day model. Now, I'll be the first to say I have been guilty of this. And I'm coming to you because I have been guilty of this. And I was doing it in my innocence. Yes. And the 30-day trick is where we attempt, as product creators, digital product people, we attempt to break down something that we do or understand into a 30-day model to help you become as proficient as possible within those 30 days. And we do things like we go through and we're like, what are the foundations? What are the things that they just exactly need to be able to do X, Y, and Z in 30 days? And it's a vicious cycle because 30 days has become the standard on what people are willing to tolerate to do something. You know, it's kind of expected. Can you get it put in 30 days? Recently, I was having a conversation with a good friend and I was telling them something that I wanted to share. And they were like, well, how long is it going to take? I was like, well, if you're diligent, 6 months, but realistically 12 to 18. She was like, people aren't going to pay for that. I won't do that. I'm like, wait a minute. We're willing to go to school to learn how to decorate cakes at a vocational school for 18 months. But you don't want to learn how to write fiction or learn how to create digital products longer than 30 days. And it takes more actually to do those two than it does to do the cake process. Now, don't at me in the comments, my cake people. Don't. I'm simply saying that the learning curves of all the moving components in an ever-changing world that now has AI has upped instead of simplified. It has upped the requirements of what you need to matriculate in those two areas that I live in. And I had to think about it. And after putting together like 15 different courses over the years and looking at the successes and the failures and the dragging dead deers up hills, begging them to continue and keep going, I have learned that we were all duped. We all fell for the lie and the big trick. And that is 30 days. Okay, so now that you've heard me rant, let me break down some of my thoughts on this 30-day situation so that you can get a better understanding. So if you have bought a whole bunch of courses and you're like, okay, I just keep shiny objecting my way through this. I keep buying courses. It doesn't work, blah, 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 blah. First and foremost, I want you to know that it's not your fault. And this is not a copywriting kind of ploy. It really isn't your fault. And it's not the creator's fault. They're not necessarily trying to dupe you. It is what we have become conditioned as what we would call usual and customary. You see, when we go and we start developing digital courses, we do things like we try to figure out how to deliver a course on 3 different levels. And usually that's going to be your novice or beginner, your intermediate, the dabbler, and then the person who is established, understands what they're looking for. So for me, the way I develop a course is I try to make sure I give the foundations. I try to keep the scope from creeping so that the foundations are clearly established. I put in the section for the intermediates on what it looks like to be proficiently operating in this. And then I make sure that I put advanced tweaks for the people who already do it. And they're looking for something that gives them an edge, that is a tweak or an enhancement to what they do. So that's really kind of how we approach it. But in the meantime and in between time, the usual and customary for the industry of online education is that we need to be able to deliver this where somebody could realistically do this in 30 days. Well, let's break down the whole 30-day process. When you're looking at that, that's 4 weeks, 2 days. And the way I normally do it, my first day is an introduction, my second day is a pre-work, and then the next 4 weeks are hustle, hustle, bustle, bustle. And when you are a novice or even an intermediary, that does not realistically give you enough time to do what we would call deliberate practice because it's competing with the ability to learn. And this is another thing that I have seen, and I try not to do, but I have been accused of it, and that is selling a Lamborghini to a toddler. What I mean by that is selling too much course to the wrong people. And when I say too much course, I mean selling them the equivalent of a 4-year college degree or even a 7-year apprenticeship to someone who probably only needed to get a training on how to do one specific part of one specific thing that was very simple. And it's kind of like a vicious loop because that's where the 30-day lives. But because we have been spreading it out, we've been cramming these detailed teachings into a 30-day training. And I mean, you probably are like, duh, Michelle. But when you're in the thick of it, when you love to help people get their epiphanies and take them on brilliant quest, you get more and more ambitious to the point where it causes overwhelm, frustration, and then a trail of courses that people were not ready for. And so I liken it to, you need to be on a tricycle, but you keep buying Lamborghinis. So bear with me. I have come up with some certain kind of prerequisites. And like case in point, I have a digital product prep course. And it breaks down a lot of the foundations that you need. But this course is not for someone that's looking for a training on how to put together an ebook. And the reason why it's not is because it's hard to teach someone how to put together an ebook that's going to be successful when they don't understand certain things that their competitors do. Like, for instance, if I were to say, I want you to put together this ebook, but it cannot be an inferior good, it cannot be a Geffen good, and it cannot go for laggards. You wouldn't know what I was talking about. If you get into the training of it, you would, and your success rate would be way higher in putting together the right ebook for the right people for the right now. But we get to the point where we know, if you're really being honest, we know that if I put this training together and I give them one specific situation, they don't have as good of a probability of being successful with that, because I've had to exclude so much so that they could get it done in 30 days, that they are crippled by what they don't know. They don't even know the right questions to ask to make sure that they have the right ebook. And so we get back into this loop of trying to cram everything into 30 days. It's frustrating because I personally would love for people to understand and be real. When you are trying to learn something, you need to equate it to human nature. We understand that it takes about 2 years just to get the general knowledge around what you're doing. Case in point, in Western society, we either send people to college or we send them to a junior college. And they spend 2 years learning general knowledge, humanities, English, math, all of these things, because they are the foundations for your specialties. They do it in medical. Your first couple of years the first year in medical school is about those foundations. And then they start getting you to get into your specialties where you have to intern and you have to spend time actually doing stuff. Learning online is the same thing, but nobody wants to say that. Nobody wants to say, hey, what you're trying to do is going to take about 7 years. And you're going to have some hits or misses, and you're not going to know how to fix them, but you keep going. And eventually, if you stick with it, because most people are not, because they don't know how long really is for the journey, they're going to give up and they're going to continuously buy the same thing over and over again, hoping that this time it'll fix it. And I want to say this, and this is not too much of a rant, but you know that you're still in the foundational stages when you want recipes and steps. When you want somebody to just tell you what to do and how to do it to get success, you're not out of the general learning curve. Your learning curve is still too high. And the reason why I say that is because once you get to the point where you understand the basics and you understand the different ways, you're able to self-customize, to take an idea and turn it into something that works for you based on the skills, the tools, the knowledge and experience you have. I'll give this, and then I'll land the plane here, because I think you get what I'm saying with this 30-day trick. There are people who will hear numbers of, oh, this person sold $75,000 in 90 days of digital products. And they'll be like, I want to do that too. And then they think that they can set up this whole process in 30 days. And I'm like, the curse of knowledge for the person who's trying to teach you is so out of whack, because they don't realize how much knowledge they have trying to just tell you what to do. And it's a disservice, because first of all, when you're doing those numbers, if you've been doing digital products, you know what kind of email size you have to do those numbers in that. You understand how much you've got to do if you're doing it organically through SEO and unpaid traffic, as opposed to how much it would cost if you're going to have to do it for paid traffic. You have a pretty good sense of what your conversion rates are on your email list. Oh, you have things like, your lifetime value of each customer. You know how to price so that you can always be testing. You know how to A/B test. All of these different things you understand. But yet and still, we tell people who have never even thought about this, you can make, and it's real, it's true, you can make $1 billion in this many months, but we don't help them understand what the infrastructure is. When I am just trying to even get people to understand what you're getting into, they're like, no one ever broke this down to me. And it's not to discourage people, it's to actually help you to understand, like I said, how long really is. You have to equate this to getting from high school to a master's degree for this to really work. And the reason why is because time and ideas and technology are moving at the speed of thought. And if you learn how to do something with AI this month, trust and know, people like me and your competitors who have paid the price, have gone through the school of hard knocks and all of that, we're able to adjust and continue to keep going. I've been doing this for 16 years and it's been hard. And I wish somebody would have told me the fallacy of 30 days so I would not have given tens and maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars away buying Lamborghinis when I needed to be on a tricycle. So thank you for listening to this. I know it was a rant, but if I can just get someone to pique their interest, I will be happy. Oh, I meant to tell you this. So you're like, well, Michelle, how do I remedy this? How do I get myself prepared? The first thing I'm going to tell you to do, 3 things. I'm going to tell you anything you're trying to get into. Do this first before, and I know I'm probably shooting myself in the foot. Do this first. Go to the University of YouTube. YouTube is really good for giving you foundations and basics, because one of the things is foundations and basics takes the most time, and that's the least people are willing to pay for. People don't want to pay for understanding the associate's degree level of what you need for good foundation. After you've gone to YouTube, I want you to then look for blogs, articles, Medium, other places. At the time of this recording, it's, places like Medium and stuff where you can go, Reddit, you can go and look at user-generated content to further investigate. Then when you're ready to start spending some money, buy an ebook first. Yeah. Amazon, wherever, buy an ebook. After that, then you move into a course. And I hate to put a price tag on this, but I'm going to say, don't pay more for your initial course than you would if you were going all out for a night on the town. So if that's $100 for you, if it's $500, if it's $2,000, if it's $5,000, don't pay more than you would if you were taking yourself on a trip or an evening or a weekend where you're willing to not see it again. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because it's going to take time. You're going to have to practice. You're going to have to get skillfully proficient, and you're going to have to learn the tools of the trade to get proficient. So you got to be in it for the long haul. Online education works. It does. 30 days work for specific things, namely if you are skilled and you're just trying to learn a tweak. But if you are a novice, be really careful for the scope of what it takes to learn this. If it's just one simple little thing, 30 days, yeah. But if it is something that you've never done and you've got a starting point and a completion to produce something so that you can get something else, understand 30 days is just your starting. All right, so I hope that helps. Don't forget to check the description. I actually had people ask you, yes, I have a calendar where if you want to talk to me one-on-one, you can go check out the calendar. So this has been Michelle, your big sis, with Brilliant Quest, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you soon.